You know, I was looking at the specs for New Glenn, and the number that just jumped out was 7 meters. That diameter, I mean, it's massive.
It really is. Makes it a true heavy lift vehicle, almost 322 feet tall,
Mm-hmm.
and named after John Glenn, of course.
An absolute legend. So today, we're doing a deep dive into this giant from Blue Origin.
Exactly. We'll unpack the design, get into their whole reusability thinking, look at how that first flight actually went, and then explore what it means for their future missions and, the launch market overall.
Okay, starting with that huge 7-meter frame. That's not just big, it's about volume, right?
Yeah.
More space for payloads than, say, a Falcon 9.
Precisely. That's a major draw for things like big satellite constellations. But the engines are really interesting, too.
Right, the first stage, it uses 7 BE4s.
Yeah, 7 BE4 engines, and they burn liquid oxygen and methane methalox.
Methalox. That's supposed to be cheaper
Yeah.
and maybe cleaner burning, less coking. Helps with reuse, I guess.
That's the idea. Efficiency for the part they want back. Then the second stage, that uses 2 BE3U engines.
And those are different.
Yeah, those run on liquid oxygen and hydrolox. Much higher performance, which you really need for that final push into orbit, especially in vacuum. So it's a deliberate choice, different fuels for different jobs.
Makes sense. And the big goal is reuse, reuse, reuse. That first stage is meant to land vertically on a ship. Jacqueline, is it?
That's the one. Landing Platform Vessel 1, nicknamed Jacqueline.
Yeah.
And the target they've stated, well, it's ambitious.
How ambitious are we talking?
They're aiming for a minimum of 25 flights per first stage booster.
25 flights. Wow. That's a lot, especially for such a large vehicle. I know they had Project Jarvis, too, aiming to reuse the second stage.
They did initially,
Yeah.
but that got shelved after the mean flight result came in. Seems they're focusing squarely on nailing that first stage recovery for now. Getting that right 25 times is a huge engineering challenge.
Yeah, achieving that kind of efficiency in complex systems, it's tough. It actually reminds me, this seems like a good moment to mention our sponsor.
Right.
This segment is sponsored by Embersilk. If your business is trying to figure out AI, like where to even start with training or automation, maybe software integration.
Or just identifying where AI agents could really make a difference.
Exactly. Embersilk specializes in that finding the impact points. So for AI training, automation, custom software, check out embersilk.com. They can help you figure out your AI needs.
Good to know.
Okay, so back to New Glenn. The maiden flight, NG-1. It finally happened, January 2025, from Launch Complex 36.
It did. And the good news was it reached orbit. Successfully deployed the payload, too, which was a Blue Ring prototype.
So mission success on the primary goal, but the landing, that was the real test, wasn't it?
It was. And that first stage, they named it. So you're telling me there's a chance. A bit ironic in hindsight.
Oh, no. Don't tell me.
Yeah, they lost it during the descent phase. It did make the landing. That triggered an FAA mishap investigation, which they did complete by the end of March 2025. But still a landing failure on the first try.
Ouch. A tough lesson, but maybe expected for Flight 1. The key is what comes next. High-stakes missions depend on this rocket.
Absolutely. The next flight, NG-2, is currently looking like November 9th, 2025. And it's carrying some important payloads.
Like what?
NASA's Escapade mission is on board. That's 2 spacecraft heading to Mars to study its magnetosphere, plus a commercial payload for Viasat.
So science and commercial together. And weren't there big contracts like with Amazon?
Huge ones.
Yeah.
Amazon booked at least 12 launches, potentially more, for their Project Kuiper internet constellation. Blue Origin is really counting on that business, and they're aiming for a high launch rate, talking about up to 8 launches per year eventually.
8 a year is moving fast. Now, something fun for listeners, maybe on the East Coast, that November launch, NG-2. Could people actually see it?
Oh, yeah. Potentially quite far, depending on the weather. Clear skies.
Yeah.
Obviously, Florida's Space Coast will see it well, but visibility could stretch up into Georgia, the Carolinas.
Even further.
Possibly. Maybe even parts of Alabama, Bermuda, down into the Caribbean. It's a big rocket. Puts on quite a show climbing out.
That's cool. But let's circle back to the business side. You mentioned their strategy. It sounds like they're selling more than just rocket rides.
That's the really interesting angle, I think. They're promising schedule certainty, almost like a commercial airline.
What do you mean by that?
They've basically said, if you book a spot on New Glenn, they'll stick to the launch schedule. Even if, say, another payload sharing the ride gets delayed, they intend to fly the remaining payloads on time.
Wait, so they might launch with empty space if a co-passenger isn't ready?
That seems to be the commitment. They're selling reliability, a fixed schedule in an industry famous for delays. It's a different value proposition.
That is different. So the final thought here, maybe. It raises a big question.
Definitely. What ultimately wins in the launch market? Is it the absolute lowest cost per kilogram, potentially achieved through complex, sometimes risky reusability schemes? Or is it the kind of predictability and schedule assurance Blue Origin is pitching? Which model will customers value more?
A guaranteed flight versus maybe a cheaper one that might slip. That's something for everyone to think about. Really fascinating stuff.
It changes how companies might plan their access to space.
Well, if you enjoyed this deep dive into Blue Origin's New Glenn, please subscribe to the show.
And hey, leave us a 5-star review if you can. It really does help get the word out.
Thanks for tuning in.